like to prepare exam pass SUMIFS 4, which belongs to University Catholic of Lille. YouTube, it will be streamed directly also on Twitch. So feel free to today, and I will explain to you what we will go through. Hello Martin. Work on it. So the aim of this YouTube live is to prepare the student, and we will see the if and or and if as table, sum of course, which is common, average, and pivot table. Within the pivot table, we will see how to insert a slice, which is called in French a segment, and a chart, how to insert a chart based on the pivot table, and we will see a drop-down list, and how to use it thanks to data validation. So I'm checking if it is working. Yes, it is working. Very good. So let's start. So thanks to this first database, we've got a database with different columns. The first column in A here is the day. So each day during 2 days, we've got different shipping companies. Marine Tech, of course, it is a fictitious companies. Oceanic Venture, Aquaboat Creation, Nautical Innovations. And we've got different number of boats per day, which are navigating on the sea. So I would like, based on this database here, I would like to summarize the number of boats per day, or the total number of boats for 2 days, I mean for 8 and 9. So I have different options to do this. The first is I could summarize all the quantity manually, equal, sum, or equal with a formula, and I will select for each boat here. So I will select, let's say, this. Let's say I want to show them here, and I want to have the number of boats, the total number of boats. Total number of boats. So of course, I could say equal, sum upon the bracket, and then for each boat, this one, semicolon. So I will select another one, the same Marine Tech here. So I will have the total number, but I will lose a lot of time. So if I want to buy some time, I will use something very common, very useful, which is called SUMIF. So the SUMIF is very useful, and to use it, I will type equal SUMIF, open the bracket, and the range containing all the different boats here, different shipping company. So I take this range. So within this range, I want Excel to find this shipping company. So semicolon, and Excel tells me the criteria. So the criteria is this cell. So this cell must be found within this range. Each time the cell will be found within each cell, Excel will summarize the different number of boats here. So now I need semicolon to refer to the list of the number I want to summarize. And I say enter. So here, so I have an issue. So I check why I've got this issue. Maybe I have some issues here. Oh. So I check. Sorry, it was for Marine Tech. Okay. So now, sorry, the reference wasn't good. So I am referring, so I am looking for Marine Tech, not the header. Marine Tech supplies within this range. Each time Marine Tech is found within the range, then Excel will summarize the different numbers, 73 plus 73. Okay, so this is just something common. Now I need to create what we call absolute reference. So I will freeze the range here because I will copy paste this formula down. So I have two options. The first is to apply something which is called absolute reference. So I will put some dollar here on B5 up to B22. Or what I could do is to give a name to each range here. So I would say shipping companies. So this range refer to shipping companies. So I could give a name like shipping underscore companies. And I say enter. I validate. Now I want to have the same for the total number of boats per day. It will be easier to calculate. And here we say number boats. Enter. Now, when I go back within my formula, instead of referring to the range, I will say so I go in formula, use in formula, and I say shipping company. So within shipping company, I look for Marine Tech Supplies, which is F5. And now I want my other name, which is here, number of boats. So now I just have to copy paste down this formula to have the total results. So to allow you to understand more this formula, I type the formula just here. Okay, so you see equal SUMIF, open the bracket, the name given for the range for the shipping companies, semicolon my criteria, which is this cell containing Marine Tech, and then the total number of boats. So all the cell will be summarized. So this is a good example how to summarize information thanks to SUMIF. But we could do the same much more quicker with something which is called pivot table. So how to summarize the information. Basically, pivot table allows you to display information either in column or in rows, and to summarize by default your information. And it is very quick. In fact, here I would like to display, thanks to pivot table, the shipping company in rows like this. And I would like to have my values for the total number of boats. So it's very, very easy. So I show you. First, I need to select the source of my information. I've got a big table. The best way in this case will be to select what you need. I just need 2 columns in this case. So I select just the 2 columns I need. Then I go in Insert, Pivot Table. So here we find the source of my information, database, exclamation point, meaning that this is the name of the sheet, database, B4 up to C22, B4 up to C22, meaning all the range. Now I want to display, I want to show this new pivot table, either in a new worksheet like this. So Excel will create a new worksheet, a blank one, and in it I will see all the results. But in this case, to show you first the source of the information and then the pivot table, the results, I will use an existing worksheet and I will select a cell and not a range of cells, but a cell where I want to display this pivot table. And I pay attention that I don't have any information next to it. So let's say here. And I say OK. Now, it's very easy. When I am within this pivot table, I can have access to two different menus, specific and customized menu. Pivot table analyze, design, and here, something very specific, a window dedicated to pivot table. And we see that pivot table is working with fields. The name of field is the same name, the field or the name given for the different column in the source of my information. So in fact, it is referring to this. This is the name of the field, the shipping company, and the name of the field, number of boats. So I will work within this. So you see, I'm outside my pivot table, and I don't have the different menus. So I have to go back within the pivot table. And now I will say, Excel, I want the shipping company to be displayed in rows. Not here, not here, not here, but there. Boom. And we see the different shipping companies. So I could rename, give shipping companies. So I can give the same name for the header of a column and the rows, but I can't give the same name as the source of the information, so here, for the value. The value will be the quantity, the number of boats per day. So now I take the number of boats per day here in values. So I see this is a sum by default. And I can find the same result as my SUMIF. Here, aqua boats, 378. Marine tech supplies, 146. This is the same. So I could also reorganize my information to have the same display as this one. So I would like to have marine tech supplies in the first place. So I could take the cell here, I go on the right side, and now I can move up the cell. Oceanic, so I can arrange again, Oceanic, aqua boats, okay, nautical, blue, wave river, SeaQuest, Harborline traders, and Tidewater distributors. So we see we have exactly the same result as a SUMIF, but it is very much quicker. So now I need to give another name. Instead of sum of number of boats per day, we could say total number of boats per day, but I couldn't give the same name as in the source. I will have an issue. If I want to give the same name, I will have to cheat with Excel to make Excel think that it is another name. So I will have to add either a space at the end of the name, like this, or I could add another name, another space at the beginning of the field here, or I just have to give another name. Let's say total number of boats. Like this. Now I've got all my results. So what could be interesting for me to go further within this pivot table could be to have, for instance, let's say, to have the percentage of what is the weight of 146 out of 4,382. Meaning here, equal 146 divided by 4,382. I will have a percentage, and I would like to have all the different percentage per boat, per shipping company here. So I could ask Excel to have the exact same number. I go within my pivot table, I take another field for the number of boats, and I will add it, I will duplicate it in values, just here. Now I can work within this second column, just here, right click, show values as, and I say I want the percentage of grand total. The grand total is this one. So percentage of grand total. And boom, we have exactly the same 3.33%. And that's it. It's done. So you see that you could either calculate with a formula, with a function, thanks to SUMIF, or you can do that much quicker with the pivot table. And it's very easy, very quick. So now let's dive in within this table. And I would like to go, so we've seen just now, we've seen here SUMIF, this one. We've seen pivot table. And I would like to sort my information out quicker thanks to the pivot table. So I go back in my pivot table here. Let's say I want to sort my information just by shipping company. So I have two options. The first one should be and must be to click here on the drop-down list and just to uncheck all the different shipping companies, and then just click and select just those who are interesting for me. So I can say, okay, so the fact is now I don't see the other. So if I don't have the source of the information, I don't know that there are other shipping companies. So what you could do instead of this could be to insert a slice. So insert a slicer. So we click in slicer. It's another filtering, but we display the filtering. So I could say I want to see a box, and within this box, I could select, and I say I want Aquaboat, boom, but I know that there are different other shipping companies. With the other way, I didn't know that we had other shipping company. So if I want to select more than one, I just click here on the checking box, the radio box, and then I can say I want this, you see here, this one, this one. And the other are hidden, but we see them here displayed thanks to the slice. So I do it again. So within the pivot table, I click in Insert, Slicer. I select the field I want to work on, shipping company. Okay. Now I can click on the different shipping companies, but if I want to select more than one, I click here on the checking box. Boom. 1, 2, 3, for instance. And that's it. Okay, so it is how to insert a segment. So it is very interesting. Let's say that now we want to have a chart thanks to this pivot table. So I could select just the information I need, or I could just go within my pivot table and insert a chart. In my case, I could say that I don't need this, I just want this. Insert, and I will ask Excel to recommend me different charts. It could be a chart with, let's say, a pie like this. It could be like this one too. It is interesting, this one too. Okay. And pay attention that if you work on Mac, you won't have the opportunity to sort the information directly on the chart. You can sort the information directly on the chart just on Windows, not on Mac. But you will have on your Mac this chart. If you want just to select different shipping company, you will need to do it directly here on the pivot table. So let's say this one, and you will see directly the chart changing, doing the same here. So it's very quick. You can also cut, or you can also cut this chart to put it or to insert it in another sheet. You just have to select the chart, Control X here, and then you can go within another sheet and paste it. So maybe it would be easier to display the different information to have a big picture of all the results. So we've seen how to create a chart here, and you can go further within the chart thanks to this. If you click on this, you can have different information, just here, different style of charts. And if you go in the plus, you could add within this the different axis title. So you see, you could add another axis title and give a name. You could have here, let's say, data label. So here we don't have the data label, but here, if I have the data label, I know that 760 is the biggest number. So I could add it, and I could resize my chart to be easier to see it. So you see, it's very interesting. So either you use the plus, or you can use the chart style to change the style of your chart. When you go over, you see in the background changing. The content is changing. Okay, so let's go back. So we've seen segment. It's called a slicer, in fact. We've seen a chart. And now we could make a mix of SUMIF and a drop-down list. So I would like to have a drop-down list within a cell. So I would like to select different shipping companies within my cell. So I go back in the SUMIF. So I am here in the SUMIF. So let's say I don't want to see all the different shipping companies. I would like to have just one cell containing the different shipping companies, like this. So first I would select my different shipping companies. In another sheet, I will paste it. I could select them and give a name. It would be easier to refer to the drop-down list. So let's say my shipping companies. Enter. Now I can go back. And let's say I want to add the drop-down list here. So I can go in Data. Here, Data Tools. I click on Data Validation. And I want to allow within the cell a list. When I will refer to the name of a range of information, of data, I will have to type equal and the name I gave. If I don't remember the name I gave, I can go in Formulas and then use in Formulas. You see my shipping companies is here. So you see equal my shipping companies. Now I say OK. And I will just put a color to identify my drop-down list. So here I can find the different name of my different shipping companies. So it will be easier now to calculate my SUMIF. So I could do the same, equal SUMIF, open the bracket, the range containing my shipping companies. So if I don't remember, use formula, it was here, the shipping companies. Semicolon, I refer to the cell company containing my drop-down lists, semicolon, and then I would like to summarize the different number of boats. So here, number of boats. So it was this range. And I say enter. So I have 0. Now I just have to select Marine Tech, Oceanic Ventures, Aquaboat, and so on. So it will be more interesting, and it will be maybe easier to see, to watch this information. So let's say this one and that one. So now I just have to select my different shipping companies. So this is the use of data validation. So we could add something else. Let's say you want to share this information to another collaborator from your company. So you want to ask them to click here when they go here and to select the different shipping companies. So when you go back to give an information, when you go back in data validation, you can add something which is called input message. So we could say, hey, please select within the list the shipping companies. Okay, so now what if somebody is going back on the cell? You say, hey, please select within the list the shipping company. And that's it. So within this table, we just had shipping companies, number of boats per day, and just two columns. Now, what if we could use something which is called SUMIFS? So SUMIFS, the aim is to calculate, to summarize information from different range with different criteria. So to do this, I made another table. So in this table, I have the same column, day, shipping company, but I added harbor, Dunkerque, Havre, and the number of boats. So I would like to summarize the different boats monthly in harbor Dunkerque for the different shipping company. So I will have to work within different range and different criteria, here, 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 and there. And I will use the data validation. Otherwise, my table will be too complicated. So I will need the shipping company. I already have it. I will need to have another data validation. So let's go back. Let's try to do this here. So now I need a data validation. So I already created once before. Just have to find it. Okay, so I can copy this one, go back here, paste it. So I don't need to do the job again. And now for the harbor, as I just have two harbors, Dunkerque and Havre, I can manually add them. So I click here in data validation, settings, I add a list, and in the list, I don't refer to a name of a range, I just type manually Dunkerque, semicolon, and then Havre, Le Havre. And I say OK. So I need just to change here and to replace Havre by Le Havre. Very good. So now I've got my drop-down list. So I would like to summarize the different shipping companies and with different harbor. So let's go in it with the SUMIFs. So the SUMIFs, the structure of the SUMIFs is different. In the SUMIF, I start with the range in which I have got my criteria. So I begin with the range in which I've got my criteria. But in the SUMIFs, it's different. I start with the quantity. Okay. So I finish this, then I answer to a question I had just before, how to do the calculation with the percentage. So just for this, equal SUMIFs, open the bracket, so meaning many range, many criterias. So equal SUMIFs, open the bracket. I first begin with my number of boats, so the quantity, semicolon. Then my first range is the shipping company, shipping companies. So just to be sure, I will go back to be sure that I'm not doing something wrong. So this is, yes, shipping companies, semicolon. So within this shipping company, I would like to I'm sorry. We are here in SUMIFs. So I do it again. Equal SUMIFs, open the bracket. Then I refer to my total number. So we work on this, and this one, it would be easier for me. Semicolon, then I will refer to this range. Within this range, I want to refer to a criteria, and this criteria is the cell containing my drop-down list. Semicolon, and then I will refer to the range containing my different harbors. Semicolon, And now I will have to refer to the cell containing my harbor. Here, this one. Down, I say OK. So now if I click here on Marine Tech Supplies for Dunkerque, I see the total numbers. If it is for Le Havre, I see all my total numbers for different shipping companies, just here. So pay attention to this figure. You will see the figure changing. So we see that with the SUMIFs, I show you now the formula. Here, equal. So we could ask Excel to work on different range, different criteria. So with more than one criteria, we need to use SUMIFs. With just one criteria, with one range, it's a couple of range criteria, we use the SUMIF. But in fact, we could have the same result with the pivot table. So I go back here. I could say I want this. And based on this table, insert pivot table. Let's say I want it here. I could have the shipping company here, the harbor, and then the number of boats. So we could see directly the different, except that we have a huge table, but the figures are exactly the same. If you see here, Oceanic Ventures in Dunkerque, if you add other slicer, for instance, here, I want to have to the shipping and the harbor. You could select here the good one. Hope you can find it, you can see it. So Oceanic Dunkerque, Dunkerque, Oceanic, boom, 578, the same results. I could check here with Aquaboats creation, Dunkerque 300 Aquaboat creation, Dunkerque 378. So you can choose either to work with pivot table or to work with the SUMIFs. Now I just go back for somebody who asked me to go back on the percentage. Out of 4,382. So to do this, it's very easy. You just have to add this field again here. Because if you don't do this, if you just right-click show values as percentage, you lose the former information. The former information is the total number of boats. I want to keep this information. So to keep this information, I will add another time this field here in values. And now I can work on the other field. Right click, show value as percentage of grand total. Okay, I'm back. So we've been through different things, different function. We've seen SUMIFs, we've seen SUMIF, we didn't see the if, so we are now we are going within the if. We've seen the sum. For the average, I would say that you could use average if like the SUMIF, or the average ifs like the SUMIFS. This is the same. And we've seen the drop down list just here. So now if I go back in if, let's say I would like to ask Excel, thanks to this pivot table, I would say I would like um, to write something specific. When the total number of boats are greater than 100, then I would like to call a freight shipping. So let's say equal, if, open the bracket, this cell is greater than 100, semicolon. Then what if it is true? So if it is true, I type something. When I want to add a text within a formula, it's between double quote. So double quote, call a freight forwarder. Otherwise, don't do anything. And that's it. So call freight forwarder. Now I can normally copy paste down. So if I normally, if you want to do it easier, it's not to do it like this. I will select this information, paste it in value, just to keep the numbers, because working on the pivot table is not good. So I do this again. If this is greater than 100, what if it is true? Call a freight forwarder. Otherwise, don't do anything. And now I just have to copy paste down. And we see that 42 here is less than 100, so I don't do anything. So what I could do now, I could apply something which is called conditional formatting. So I will select the range, conditional formatting. I want to highlight rules with text that contains, each time call a freight forwarder is written. I want to see it in red. Otherwise, I would like to see when the text contains don't do anything in green. And you see in the background, we see the formatting just here. If you want to check the different conditional formatting made, you can go in conditional formatting, manage rules, and you see the different rules I made just here. The first one and the second one. So we could do now, we could go deeper in the if and use the if and, I would say if or. And to do this, we could use this table with the different harbor. So I will take this one just for the example. I copy it. And let's say I want not only this cell containing Dunkerque, but also this cell is more or greater than 50. So, wait, it's okay. So we'll say equal if, and open the bracket, this cell equal to Dunkerque, semicolon, and this cell is greater than 100, I close the bracket. What if the two conditions are true, semicolon, then let's say call them, otherwise don't do anything. Close the bracket. So we see that in the if, we've got either one condition or many conditions. In this case, if we have many conditions, I will add the and within the and, I have my first condition, semicolon, my second condition. And the first is linked to the other. If it is not Dunkerque, but D31 is greater than 100, it won't work. So you can see here, don't do anything. But you see, Dunkerque and greater than 100, 289. But here, Dunkerque, but less than 100, don't do anything. So I show you the formula just here. So now we've been through the different function, if, and, or, because the and the or are the same. Or means if one condition is met, it applies. And and is all the conditions must be met. We've seen the SUMIFs, SUMIF. We didn't see format as table, so we will do it just now. And the aim of format as table is to ease the calculation and ease the filtering. So let's say, okay, I will take this table. Take this one, number of boat. And I know that I will double the number of boats next year. Let's say that this. And I want to calculate automatically the formula within the different cell. I don't want to copy paste my first formula down like this. And each time I will add different information, I want Excel to calculate this. So this is my forecast. So first, I will select this table. I go in Home. Then I click on Format as Table. This is the different display. So light color, medium, dark. So I like the green. I pay attention to check the box my table as headers, like this. I say OK. And now, what if I create one calculation, one formula, equal this times 2, and now, boom, it's calculated for all the different cells. So I do it again. So first, I select my table. In fact, it is a range. And when I convert this range in table, it is formatting as table. So I click on as format as table. I can select here green. I pay attention to check the box my table as headers, like this. OK. And now I create a calculation equal this times 2, enter, and boom, it's calculated for all this. Now, what if I add another shipping company, let's say Marine Tech again, but with different number of boats, let's say 55, 56, you will see the calculation is done already times 2. So it's very interesting. If you want to get rid of this formatting as table, I mean, if you want to make a revert, you can go within this table, click on table design, and now click on convert to range. So to go back, yes, I want to convert the table to a normal range. Yes. So now it's done. If you want to get rid of different formatting from this, you can select, go in Home, and click on the rubber, and click on Clear Formats. And then you get rid of the formatting, but you keep the content. Thanks for watching. So this Excel sheet is shared directly within the YouTube Live, and I will share with you again just after. And now I will finish, and I will do the same job, but in French for another class. Thanks for watching.